Wow, wow, wow. What a move. What a move down today. Well, we talked about this last night. Got to go lower before we go higher. I guess the markets were listening today. Most important thing, though, the size of this move. I'll tell you, anytime we see a big move like we saw today, you will soon learn to love big move markets because big moves give us plenty of ways to make money tomorrow. I got a bunch of great trades I'm tracking for Thursday. And if we're lucky, if the trading gods are looking down on us tonight, if we're lucky tomorrow, we'll get one of my favorite trades after a big move market like this. I'm excited just thinking about it here right now. Now, as always, I'm going to cover all my favorite trades in the video tonight. I want you guys to have a game plan to make some money on Thursday. Before we jump in, though, and get the party going tonight, make sure you subscribe. I don't want you to miss tomorrow night's video, so make sure you subscribe. And if you like the videos tonight, if you enjoy these lessons, hit that like button for me. Give me a shout out down in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, supporting the channel, sticking around tonight. Been a busy day today. I hope you guys had a fantastic day out there. But let's get back to work, though. We got some more money to make here on Thursday. Now, of course, the Nasdaq and the triple Qs I got loaded up. I got the Emini and the SPY in front of me. Remember, I like to start on the 60-minute time frames. Think of this as a big picture chart. Look at the 60-minute to plan our trades for the following day. And later on in the video tonight, I'm going to drill down to some tick charts. Tick charts are where we'll talk about entry tactics to time the perfect entries for tomorrow. So let's start first on the big picture 60. What are the 60-minute charts telling us right now? Well, we're still bullish overall. We had that big run up early in the month of November, but the bears, they have all of the momentum right now on both the E-mini and the Nasdaq right now. It looks like the E-mini S&P is trying to rotate down to the low of this big triangle. Bears, of course, have all of the momentum. And are we surprised? Are we surprised? We talked about this last night, right? The Bears are still trying to punch that ticket at that 15,721 and a quarter from last week's lows. So still bullish overall. So I have some long trades for tomorrow, but plenty of short trades as this thing rolls off of these highs, right? Got to go lower before we go higher. Now, I want to talk about entry tactics. We'll talk about entry tactics here in a moment. Before we do that, though, let's double check the schedule for tomorrow. There's no major news on the schedule for tomorrow, December the 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, by the way. So no major news. We got jobless claims tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Time. I don't think that's going to be our big market mover tomorrow. Everyone's waiting for the employment number coming out on Friday. I mention this because keep in mind, tomorrow afternoon, the bigger players in the market are usually going to be sitting on the sidelines tomorrow afternoon. So try to make your money tomorrow morning. Earlier the better would be great. At least protect our capital late in the day tomorrow, because we go into that non-farm payroll on Friday morning. You got to think a lot of the bigger players, right? They're keeping their powder dry for that number on Friday. So be aware of that. No major news, but just be aware late in the day tomorrow. Better to make your money earlier than later tomorrow morning. Now back to our charts, though, because the money is made always on the charts. Let's now go over my favorite trades here for tomorrow. We'll start first here with the S&P and the SPY, and we'll finish up right now on the Nasdaq and the triple Qs here. Now, right now on the S&P, again, we're still bullish overall, right? We're still bullish overall, but the bears have all of the momentum. If you're taking my free video classes right now, you know that ranges love to rotate, and one of the things we teach in our free video series is this triangle, right? The use of these expanding triangles. And right now, it simply looks like we're trying to take out that low. We did take out that low. We talked about earlier on in the week here this week. But it seems like right now the bears are trying to kind of finish off that rotation back down. If they really get what they want tomorrow, they may take out the rest of that pendulum swing. So we know the bears have all the control. I would imagine a lot of buyers are waiting down around these areas. So I definitely do have some buy side trades on my radar for tomorrow. But let's talk about the big move, right? Because the big clue right now is the size of that move. We look over at our tick charts right now. Now, of course, I like to use tick charts for entries. This is a 7,000 tick chart in the upper left-hand corner, and that, of course, is the 21 EMA. If you're tuning in and watching for the first time right now, we're pretty bearish. You can see that by looking at the chart right now. Well, by the way, the bears, they finally got that strong move. We talked about this. Was it Monday night? And, of course, last night? Remember, that was the most recent strong move. We thought they might wind up taking out that low? Well, they got their goal. They definitely did that. So let's talk about my favorite trades here for tomorrow. Anytime I see a really big move down like this, I expect a two-legged pullback and a retest of that low. It's a very, very simple roadmap, and you will soon learn to love big move markets. Now, there's a lot of ways in which we can trade this. I can buy it as on the pullback. I can sell it after that two-legged pullback. And one of my favorite trades after a big move is a double bottom reversal. And later on in the video tonight, I'm going to talk about that one favorite trade I have. I'm going to cover that on the Nasdaq. So you be wise. If you like making money, I would definitely stick around all the way to the end, and we'll cover that kind of favorite trade. We might not get it tomorrow, but I want to make sure you guys are ready for it. So let's break this down. Let's break this down. Now, in my free video course, I talk a lot about measured moves, right? So I wanted to think about a two-legged pullback, and I don't know exactly how big it will be right now, but we talk about measured moves in the free video course. Think about a measured move, and this will usually be a little bit larger than a 100% extension, a measured move. So it'll usually be a little bit larger, again, than that measured move. I don't know the whole thing right now, but that's kind of the idea behind this, and then back down, all right? So going to keep that in the back of your mind as the fundamentals on this. Now, during that pullback, how do we buy it? Well, right now we're very bearish, and so we have to respect the bears right now. The way that you buy off the low is you use what I call a crown reversal inside our free video classes. This wraps together a failure pattern, two-try failure, and a bear trap. I call these crown reversals. I want a higher high in price and a nice strong green candle on that signal. I usually take these crown reversals on a half size or a quarter size position on these, just so you know. We'll talk more about that tomorrow in our trade room. And then again, think about that measured move, a little bit more than that measured move. Now, once we get up into this area now, remember, anytime we see a big, strong move like this, we're expecting a pullback and a retest of that low. I'm not a big fan of picking tops on this, right? Because for all I know, it'll keep on going. We're an overall bull market. So I'm not going to try to pick a top on this. What I'll do is I'm going to wait for buyers to come in and confuse this for a reversal. Once those buyers get long off the moving average, now I can use one of my favorite combination trades. We call this a failure into pullback, combination. A lot of examples of these, of course, inside the free video course, right? If buyers go up, they try to buy off the moving average. We use their stops to fuel the move back down. We call those failure patterns, right? If you guys are in the free video course, you know that already. And then real important, I love to grab that first pullback off the moving average before we go back and retest that low. Now, just be aware of this. Sometimes these things will really drop. And if they really drop nice and low, what I'll have to do is to sell nice and high, I'm going to use what we call a bull trap. All right, a bull trap right there. Okay, so again, it's a crown reversal or a two-try failure pattern. Okay, it's a buyer failure, and then depending on what happens on the way lower, like I mentioned earlier, right, it'll either roll up and take off that moving average, or we'll get like a little bull trap, like I'm showing you right there. Now, how do I buy off that low? We are an overall bull market, so when I retest that low, if I can get some rookies to come in and try to short down here, bears once, bears twice, I'd love to use what I call a two-try failure, okay? Remember, think about this. I like the idea of selling way up here. I like the idea of selling way up here, selling high and retest that low. I hate the idea of selling down here, but I'm sure there will be a bunch of rookies that don't really know any better yet. They haven't paid their tuition to the market, as we say, and if I can get those rookies to get in, I can use their stops to fuel this, because this is one of my favorite trades after a big move, because everybody who sells short off of that deep pullback, they're taking their profit at that low. And then in come those rookies. Let them try a couple times. Again, we're not trying to pick bottoms on this, right? Because it may keep going lower. I don't have a crystal ball. It may keep going lower, but if I start seeing those bears try once, try twice, just like I teach in the free video course. 1 try for the bears, 2 try for the bears, and then buy right into those stops going high here. So this is the roadmap. Crown reversals, failure into pullbacks, and double top reversals off this low. Now, if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new language. You might have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's perfectly fine though. Everyone has to learn at some point. Not to worry. I teach all of these entry patterns. I have hundreds of examples of crown reversals and failures and 2-try failures all linked up. I cover the whole thing inside my free video classes. What I'll do is I'll put a link up there for you in the upper right-hand corner. Grab that link, take that free video series, because the strategy you'll learn in that short video series will teach you a simple trick we use to know exactly where the best winning trades are going to be in our morning trade room. Then once we know where the winners are going to be that day, then we trigger the entry. I'll teach you 4 of my favorite entry patterns. If you're not making consistent money right now, if you're struggling to qualify for a prop account or a funded account with Apex or Top Step, if you hate missing the best trades each day, hit that link up top there. That will give you an easy roadmap to follow to find lots of winning trades that we do every morning in our trade room. And also keep in mind too, if you can't grab that link up there, I'll put all the important links I talk about tonight down in the description of the YouTube video. I'll put the free course links. I also post a lot on Twitter during the week, chart updates, psychology updates. If you're on Twitter, I'll put my Twitter handle down there as well. Give me a follow for updates in between these YouTube videos. All right, I think that covers it. The only other variation of this is we are an overall bull market. So what if it pops up and begins to rip, right? What if it begins to rip? Now remember, I'm going to be looking for that crown reversal on that pullback. I usually go pretty small size on these because they're going against momentum of the market. The good news is you don't need a very big position size on this to make some pretty good money if it does reverse and run all the way up. It's very difficult. The problem with the market kind of V-bottoms off of this is we have to wait for ultimately a breakout pullback. We have to wait for it to begin to, what'll happen is it'll pop up and begin to separate off the moving average, right? So if we see it pop up and begin to separate off the 21, again, most of the time, it'll go 2-legged move, 2-legged pullback. It'll get up around that moving average. The buyers will try to keep it going. They'll fail and will come crashing back down. And then we'll see buyers come in and buy going back higher again. That is usually the much more lucrative trade to be a buyer on this. But again, watch closely. If we end up popping up and we end up separating, right? Separating, grinding. That's a pretty good sign that we're trying to rotate back to the other side of this range. The hardest part about this is that we don't want to chase it, okay, as it goes higher. What I usually look for after a big move like this, if it reverses like that, is I look for another one of those 2-legged pullbacks and then in to retest the high. These are usually a bit tricky, and there's a lot of variations of these and how it sets up, because sometimes it'll try to go up, it'll still come. Remember, the odds are very good we go back and retest that low before we take off that move. But it pops and begins to separate. We'll cover more of this tomorrow in the trade room. The most important thing is I don't want to chase after it because it's simply a short squeeze going higher. What I do is again, think about that 2-legged pullback. Think about that measured move, right? And trying to get in. I'll try to find a channel up there. I'll look for prior swings like that. So we'll know more about that tomorrow. That'll give you a reason to come out and join us tomorrow morning in the morning trade room. Just be very careful on this though. This is not the likely scenario. Again, anything can happen. I have no crystal ball. We're overall a bull market right now, but I'm kind of keeping an eye on that. If we do pop up, the giveaway will be that separation going higher. Now, this one scenario for tomorrow that I think we'd all be happy for if we got it tomorrow. Let's talk about the Nasdaq right now. The Nasdaq, this also applies to the S&P too, but I feel bad leaving the Nasdaq lonely over here for too long on these videos, and I'm sure you're getting a bit itchy to get some Nasdaq going as well. Let's talk about that one trade that I almost hope we get here for tomorrow. We don't get it every time. Now on the Nasdaq, if you've been watching my videos this week, this should be a kind of nothing new here for us, right? We have this this range, been trying to get this rotation back up, but we knew we had this strong rundown, right? We knew we had that strong rundown to finish off what was it? Was it last week, right? Early this week? Doesn't matter, right? Strong run down. They're trying to retest that low. I would imagine support levels, as I mentioned earlier, got to go lower, right? Got to go lower before we go higher here right now. So we're bullish overall. It's important we don't lose sight of that huge. Look at that chart, right? It's important we don't lose sight of that monster move. This is still a bull market overall, but again, the Bears have quite a bit of control of the momentum right now. Over to our tick charts again. The tick charts I think are a bit easier to trade than time charts. You guys have seen that in our trade room. Same basic idea, right? Same basic idea. Big move down, overall bull bias. Think about that two-legged pullback, trap those buyers in, right? Back down to retest the low. And again, as we go back to retest the low, think about selling as high as you can and try to use those bull trap patterns I talk about in the video course. And then again, think about it, right? Anyone who sells short up there, they're going to take at least a good chunk of their profit off at that low. Once they do, and we get bears walking in, try once, try twice, bam, light those stops up with that squeeze. These will usually pretty easily back to those highs. And because we're an overall bull market, could be a very lucrative run into the afternoon session tomorrow afternoon, especially with the big traders on the sidelines tomorrow afternoon. Now, one of my favorite trades after a big move is when the market goes into a trading range. Now, if you've taken my free video classes, you know how much I love ranges. Let's talk about a trading range here. And obviously, I don't know everything right now, so we'll kind of speculate right now about where this range, may be. It's tough to predict, right? We may keep going lower here overnight. But let's just say, for example, we end up getting a range like this here into the day tomorrow, all right? And it makes sense, right? It makes sense. There may not be any buyers that dare buy down here, and so they may they may not dare buy, so bearish, right? Sellers may not take their profit, and the market may run sideways. Now, it's important to remember that if we go lower, my favorite trade in these scenarios is after a big move, if we go into a trading range, remember, ranges act like magnets, not that, magnets. Lucky I'm not teaching spelling, right? I'm not teaching English on these videos, right? Magnets, right? They're magnets. Now, think about this. If we run lower, how many sellers do you really think are down there? You know what I mean? It's a big move down, right? How many bears do you really think are going to short down there? Probably not the smart bears, I would imagine, right? Probably not the smart money. So we have to assume that as we go lower, there probably aren't going to be a lot of sellers down there, probably not the big sellers. Again, we're at support on that 60-minute chart, right? 761 and a quarter. So we're still pretty bearish overall. This is a great spot here, though, for a little fake out breakout, a little bear trap reversal right off of this low. Now, again, we're still pretty bearish overall right now. So in order for me to pick this bottom, I'm not a big fan of picking bottoms, right? I'd rather wait for the bears try once, the bears try twice. And this pattern, again, I call this a crown reversal, will come off that low. This is a great setup because, again, it combines an overextended market, rookies getting short, and a range. Now, the reason why ranges are so important on this is because, remember, ranges love to rotate. So now the amount we went below the range, I can project now that amount above the range, and bingo, now we know where the market wants to go. What I'll usually do is take half off at the high of the range, half off, take a quarter off, right, at that pendulum. We call this the pendulum swing, right? The amount below, amount above, right? And then leave a runner, right? And see how far we can go from there. Now, we mentioned earlier that we would look for a two-legged pullback. Now, in this situation, when a market rotates off that low, and by the way, if we do want to keep buying it as we're going higher, this one pattern, bear traps, right? Bear traps are definitely the trade you want to look for, right? So again, a crown reversal is basically the same pattern, right? Higher high in price, trap low, higher high in price, trap low. I have to anticipate bears are going to try to short this thing and have to use their stops to fuel the move going higher, and that's why we have to use bear traps to buy off of this low. Now, when I get up here, this will be very, very bullish. All right. We talk a lot about rotation in the video classes. And one thing I've learned the hard way, and I'm hopefully keep you out of learning the hard way as well, is that when I rotate off the low like this, I can't be that aggressive on this because the momentum is really strong as it rotates. So in this case, I'm going to look for 1 and 2. I want to make sure these buyers try twice up here. And again, I'm looking for it around that pendulum, up around resistance. Once those buyers get caught, once those buyers are long, then I can execute that classic failure into pullback combination as you go back down to retest that low. Now, like I mentioned before, right, if we start to kind of pop up and grind off of this, I call these slingshot reversals. They're not the most common thing in the world. Again, when we have a big move like this down, what is more likely is to go up and get whacked back down again. So just be aware of that. That is what the odds tell us for tomorrow. But, again, no crystal ball here. I want to make sure we're ready for whatever the market throws at us here for tomorrow. And again, if it starts to pop up and grind going higher, I just don't want to chase it, right? Don't chase it. Look for that two-legged pullback, and we'll go out and start looking for those big channels, right, and look for those buys off that. That's a little bit too far into the future for me to predict right now. We'll talk about that tomorrow in the trade room. The key, though, is just don't chase it as it goes higher here. So just be aware of that. Again, my favorite trades here, all right, is to trap those bears underneath that low, and then again, use those stops to squeeze this thing and rotate it going higher here. Now, as you can imagine, we may not get that bear trap off of that low if we are simply going sideways here. Around this low here, I am still ultimately looking for that same basic game plan, right? Looking for that two-legged correction. Think about that measured move, as I mentioned. Think about that bear trap crown reversal to get long as we go, get up around this area, trap those buyers in, and failure, pull back down again. Remember, ranges love to rotate, so if we can get that bull trap, that I call these, this is ultimately a bull trap. I would call this a buyer failure pattern. We're going to talk about that a lot in the free video course. What usually happens in these cases is they'll drop back in, we'll get a nice little bull trap entry going lower, and then think about what your targets are on this, right? So your targets are going to be at the other side of that trading range, right? Half off there, and then we take the amount above the range, the amount below the range, and that could be a very lucrative final target, right? As we go down, take out that low, bears once, bears twice, pop it right back up into that trading range. Ranges love to rotate back and forth. Just simply wait for a breakout, right? Again, don't pick the top on it. At least you can do whatever you want, but I don't like to pick tops because sometimes it keeps on going. Wait for the buyers to try, use their stops to fuel, get that rotation going lower. Use that pendulum swing to time the exits. And then once you get the exit down there, as everybody takes their profit and those rookies come in and get short, yeah, easy. These can be very easy winners as long as you get the right signal. And we'll talk more about this tomorrow, of course, in the trade room. All right, guys, a pretty straightforward, I think a pretty simple game plan for tomorrow. I always look forward to the day after a big move because the game plan is pretty straightforward. Now, tomorrow, the market's going to throw us a curveball. I try to anticipate the best trades here for tomorrow, but I don't see everything sometimes. That's okay though. We have a trade room tomorrow morning. Every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to get together and trade this stuff together. Right? I can't think of any better way to learn this than to come out, watch me, trade with us, right? Learn with us, have some fun with us. We have a great group in our morning trade room. I'll put all the important links the description of the YouTube video. I'll put the free class links. I would definitely recommend start with the free video course first. Learn the basic stuff. Get that foundation of knowledge, and that'll get you moving in the right direction. And hopefully sometime soon I'll see you trade along with me in the morning trade room. Again, if you're on Twitter, you can see my Twitter handle down there, and I'll put all the information for our trade room down there, membership specials, everything you guys need help with to make an educated decision. All right, guys, how about questions? Any concerns? I'm always here. So if you have any questions or have trouble getting access to our free video classes, don't be afraid to call or email or use live chat. If you need help, I'm always here to help out every step of the process. All right, guys, boy, fantastic day today. It's been a great week. It's been a great month of December so far. Tomorrow, we're back at it again. Hopefully, I'll see you soon in the morning trade room. If not, tomorrow night, same time, same place. We'll do it all again and get ready for Non-Farm Friday, guys. Thanks for watching tonight. My name is Joseph. Be well. Be nice to each other out there tomorrow, and be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.